Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday, the 16th of July. So, a quick recap. Well, Friday selections, I gave you three horses. They were classed at, well, basically I advised you to have them basically in just a pound each way doubles. There was Record the Show in one race. Unfortunately, I think it came fourth. However, I tipped two in the, I can't remember what time race it was now. It was 8:24 at Pontefract, where I actually backed the winner at 9-1, but unfortunately, as I advised one pound each way double, so there's no return. But I did actually tip a 9-1 winner. So things are slightly no returns, but slightly. At least I finally backed a winner after being in the doldrums for quite so long. So Saturday selections, basically what I've done is I've had a 10 pence each way lucky 63, and I've taken all the Sky Bet prices, and then I've placed the same bet again 10 pence each way, lucky 63 on the same selections and taking SP on all of them. The reason why that is, instead of just having a 20 pence each way, lucky 63, I've taken the prices because if we have a good start, there's a chance you can cash out. Whereas if you take SP, you can't cash out. Excuse me. Let's get into it. So the first selection is Castel Gandolfo at 10-1 in the 241 at Market Rasen, paying four places instead of three. Well, Fergal O'Brien has got two horses in this race. He's got. Oh, it's not Mr. Wolf. It's something Wolf, and it's the first run for Fergal O'Brien after coming out of Gavin Cromwell's stable. It is a front runner, and it does suit front runners at Market Rasen. However, I do think there could be quite a bit of pace on. And this Castel Gandolfo last time ran at Kelso racing very freely, and personally, I think that was just a blowout to get him fit. You know, like because all its best runs for Castel Gandolfo has been when it's been held up towards the rear. Well, the only reason why I like this, I think this horse has got a decent chance, is because I think there might be a bit too much pace on, and I think it maybe could collapse in front, which should suit this horse. Normally, I would go for a front runner, but I think there's too many, or possibly too many front runners in this race. The second selection is a similar kind of backing behind it. Is Count Dorsey at 7-1 in the 8 minutes past three race, paying four places instead of three at Chester. Well, normally you wouldn't want a horse that comes from behind at Chester, but there's so much pace in this. I think there's five front runners, and also one of them front runners actually the stablemate of this horse, Copper Knight. So that, in my opinion, they're going to absolutely blast that. This horse has got some cracking form round Chester, even though it comes from a long way off the pace. And I think they could, once again, I think the pace could collapse, and this one should be flying through towards the end. So I think it's got a cracking chance. The third selection is Tex Hard at 6-1 in the 14 minutes past three race at Market Rasen, paying five places instead of three. Well, this horse ran just 3 days ago. I actually watched this horse beat, I think it was Corto the King. Never looked like losing. It is a decent front runner, and as I mentioned, Market Rasen does suit front runners, and I think if this horse gets an easy lead, I'm not sure how to judge Philip Armisen yet. I've watched him ride. I'm no pro, but he does seem to have a lot of rides, but not an awful lot of winners. So fingers crossed for this horse to ride. But I do think if he could get an easy lead, it could be very hard to beat. So the fourth selection, I haven't gone too much into the form on this one. The fourth selection is Looking for Linda at 25-1 in the 3:30 at Newbury in the Weatherby's Super Sprint, playing five places instead of three. Basically, I've gone for this horse because Carl Burke has had a cracking season with his 2-year-olds. Well, this horse ran or disappointed behind Bradsell at York when Bradsell won by 9 lengths. Well, this horse was giving Bradsell weight that day. It was also running over 6 furlong. Well, today or Saturday, it's 5 furlong. I think this horse is very highly rated. It's never been in all three races a bigger price than 7-2, which was its debut. So I think Colbert could have sent a number of horses into this race. Don't get me wrong, a lot of these trainers could have sent a number of horses into this race, but as you'll be aware, he has had some big price winners in listed races and group races. Even the first time out horse at Ascot. So that one at a huge price. I think it was 40s or 66 to 1. So I do think this horse has got a decent chance. It disappointed last time, but it was beginning to run into or show a bit of form. So it could be worth at least running into a place. So the fifth horse is Cockalorum at 14 to 1 in the 341 at Chester, paying 4 places instead of 3. Well, probably like a lot of my subscribers, I do like to keep an eye on a few of the tipsters, and this Cockalorum was tipped quite heavily for Newcastle. I believe it was Newcastle. Not sure if it was Northumberland play. I didn't look too much into it. It was one of the big races at Newcastle on the all weather. It ran a decent race, and it's also ran decent races all season without like any standout form. Well, it likes to race near the pace. What I think is from its low draw of 4, you've got the favourite in stall 2, which also likes lead. I personally think because Yukon Glen is drawn 1, and that'll be sat last. So I think the favourite could go straight to the front, and this Cockalorum could well be sat on its shoulder, tracking it all the way round. I think they'll dictate the pace between them both. They'll ease it right up. I can just imagine there being a bit of trouble in behind, and these two, the favourite and this horse, kicking on from the front, and then we've got 4 places to fight over, and I think 14 to 1. It's a decent price. Johnny Pete's rode the last winner at Pontefract tonight for his boss Roger Fell, and this is the same connections, Roger Fell and Johnny Pete, and I just think it's got a decent chance, 14 to 1, and basically being up near the front off possibly an easy pace. You've got an head start on the rest of the field. And finally, a very interesting horse. I'm not going to say it's my nap of the day, because I actually equally, apart from looking for Linda, I fancy them all pretty similar. So the final horse is Garden Oasis at 13 to 2 in the 1 minute past 4 race, paying 4 places instead of 3 at Ripon. This horse came second in this race at Ripon last year. It looked a much stronger renewal. Ruth Carr, who hasn't got that many good horses, I think it was rated nearly 80 that won it, with a Racing Post rating of 87. Well, you probably heard of the horse called Firminant. Well, Firminant ran in that race as well, and that was rated nearly 90 at the time. Well, there's nothing even close to that in this race. Well, Garden Oasis is the best horse in the race, obviously with top weight, just beginning to run into a bit of form. Well, there is odd little bits of form where it can easily, in my opinion, run into the first 3 or 4 in this race. And the only dodgy thing about it is Timmy Easterby's got 2 in it, and his other horse is Motagel. And I just can't quite have that other horse. It's not showing enough for me. And also that Motagel, it's never won at Ripon. I'm not sure if it's ever ran at Ripon. I can't remember, but I don't think it's ever ran at Ripon. But Garden Oasis, when I look at the form, obviously I'm doing all this from memory. It had won at least 2 races last year at Ripon, and also come second in this race last year. So I think it's got a cracking chance at 13 to 2. I'm not a fan of the jockey Tony Hamilton, but he's all right. He tends to ride for Farhi quite a lot. So those are the bets for Saturday. If you've got any selections, let me know in the comments, or if you fancy any of these horses, let me know in the comments, or if you follow other tipsters, let me know what they've tipped and what you fancy and why you disagree with me. That's fine. But if you've listened to this far, do me a favour, just click subscribe, and then you'll get my tips, or even there's a notification button somewhere. I don't know where it is. But alternatively, give me a like if you can. Anyway, fingers crossed, the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.